Now, about a month ago, I reviewed one of the best laptops for 2024, and it's certainly in the running for best laptop of the year. I'm talking about the Lenovo Yoga Pro 9i. It's a creator-focused laptop. It has a gorgeous 16-inch mini LED display, 165 Hz refresh rate. It's got pretty much all the bells and whistles that Lenovo can throw in it. It's got a discrete GPU, the RTX 4050. It also has the Core Ultra 9 185H. So yeah, we're not playing around here. But it did come in at a little bit of a high price tag, although I think you get a lot of bang for the buck for what you're getting. But for those that don't want to break the bank, want to spend a few $100s less, there is something from the Lenovo IdeaPad line that I've been putting through its paces for the last couple of weeks. In fact, I did a live unboxing of it. You want to check it out, I'll leave the link in the replay in the description below. I'm talking about the IdeaPad Pro 5i. It brings a lot of the same high-end features, but not the same high price tag. You get a gorgeous display on this. You also get a beautiful design, and you also get an RTX 4050 as well. And again, it is going to come in at a better price, and it gives you a lot of bang for the buck. We're going to get into it why I think this is an excellent choice here for 2024, especially if you are a content creator. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is my review of the Lenovo IdeaPad Pro 5i, brand new for 2024. Coming up.
Now, before we get to the unit itself, I just want to let everyone know, in the interest of transparency and full disclosure, I'm not being paid by Lenovo. I'm not being sponsored by Lenovo. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Lenovo is not getting copy approval. That means they're seeing this video for the first time, just like you. Now, this unit is on loan from Lenovo, and once this review is done, I'll be sending it back. Now, the IdeaPad Pro 5i has a starting price of $1,159, but the version I have here at Costco, $1499.99. They're not an affiliate of mine, so I'm not making any commission. Link will be in the description below. That is a great deal because you're getting a few extras there, an exclusive, it seems, that you don't get from going over to Lenovo's website, namely the RTX 4050 discrete GPU and the Core Ultra 9 185H. So that is pretty amazing for a $1,500 price point. With that being said, let's get this out of the box. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff here. Let's see what we have. Well, it's 170 watt proprietary connection charger right here. So 170 watt. We've seen this one from Lenovo before. You get your power cord, of course. So let's put that to the side. We're going to use that. And then we get some warranty information, and then you get a setup guide, and then yada, yada, yada. Wow, that looks pretty nice. Now, this is the Arctic Gray. You can see it here. This is what the front looks like, and this is the underside right there. And then you can see it here. So I like this all-metal build. It feels premium. It feels really solid. Let's see, you know, the useless test of the day here. Yeah, you can certainly open it with one finger. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a guide here telling you that it has the power connector there, the function shortcuts, always on USB port, and all that stuff there. You're looking at 2.001 kilograms, and that would be 4 pounds, 6.6 ounces. Now, with the power charger and the power cord, you're looking at 5 pounds, 8.4 ounces, and that would be 2.506 kilograms all in. And you know what? Packs a little bit of weight here, but you know, you're also packing a little bit of a punch under the hood. All right, let's check out the port selection. On the left side is your power port in. It's a proprietary port we've seen from Lenovo many times before. And next to that is an HDMI 2.1 port that supports up to 4096 by 2160 resolutions running at 60 hertz. And then next to that is the USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 1 that supports power delivery and display port out. And then you get a Thunderbolt 4 port USB Type-C that is full function. And moving over to the right side is a welcome sight indeed, a full-size SD card reader. Now you'll notice the cards stick about 3/4 of the way, so when you're not using it, make sure you put it in a bag. You don't want it to break off or snap off if you bump into something. Just keep that in mind. Kind of wish it was flush with the unit. That's not what we get. Next to that is a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack, and finally 2 USB Type A ports to round it out. And I would say all in all, an excellent port selection here. Okay, let's take a look at the internals here, and we'll notice that it has an 84 watt-hour battery. We'll get into the battery life later on in this review, and you'll notice the 2 fans for cooling. We'll get into the thermal performance later on. We'll talk about fan noise and how hot this gets and so forth, as we always check out. Now, as far as the SSD here, you'll notice that there are 2 slots here, one M.2 2242 slot. That's the main slot that I have the terabyte of storage in, and then there's another slot that supports both sizes, M.2 2242 and M.2 2280. So having that second slot allows you to expand out storage as the user, and I'm a big proponent of that. I like that. Now, as far as the included SSD, as I said, 1 terabyte here with excellent reads and writes, certainly fast enough for what you need this laptop to do. And like most laptops here in 2024, the RAM is soldered into the motherboard, not upgradable by the user. Now, that being said, this unit, which you can purchase at Costco, which I think is an exclusive, allows you to go up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's LPDDR5X RAM running at 7,500 mega transfers per second. And that's pretty fast. So that's one of the consequences of it being soldered in. The negative part of that, like I said, you can't upgrade it yourself. And when it comes to the wireless, you're looking at Wi-Fi 6E on Bluetooth combo card that is slotted in, not soldered in. So if you need to change it out down the road, you have that option. And that is good because this is not Wi-Fi 7, which would be more future-proof. But if you want to put it in yourself, that seems to be the option here. So that might be a way to go. But right now, it's working fine as far as the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, both working flawlessly. No issues with either one. Okay, let's talk about the display, and it's a good one. It's a 16-inch 2K display. That's a resolution of 2048 by 1280. That is a 16:10 aspect ratio. It's a touch display, and it's a glossy display, although it wasn't the worst I've ever seen, but you will notice the glare and reflection depending on your lighting conditions. It's also an HDR display, so watching high dynamic range content has been really good. Now, as far as the metrics are concerned here, you're looking at 423 nits and standard dynamic range in terms of screen brightness, and can peak as bright as 500 nits when watching HDR content. So just keep that in mind. It also has excellent coverage of the color gamut. It is also very color accurate. So if you're going to do content creation in Lightroom, Photoshop, video editing, color grading, and things of that nature, this is an excellent panel for those tasks. Now, this also has a touch layer on this, so if you want to navigate the OS with your finger or use pinch to zoom, it's very convenient, especially when you manipulate a photo in Photoshop or Lightroom. I thought it worked really well. I like having the touch layer. It also has a high refresh rate here. You're looking at 120 hertz. What does that mean? You're going to get that very smooth, very fluid experience that comes with a high refresh rate at the cost of battery life. So if you want a little bit better battery life, you'll have to bump it down to 60 hertz. So just keep that in mind. And the other thing to point out with an OLED display is the fact that there is screen flickering, or PWM, and I know some people are sensitive to that. I did notice it below 50% screen brightness, so just keep that in mind. I'm not sensitive to it, but I would be remiss if I didn't point that out. The other thing to note about the OLED displays here is screen burn-in down the road. Now, they've gotten a lot better over the years. I have not experienced any screen burn-in on any of the modern laptops running an OLED display coming into this studio, but I wanted to point it out that it might be an issue down the road, as with any OLED display. Now, this is an excellent display to consume media. Watching Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, especially in high dynamic range or HDR, worked really well. And with that peak brightness of 500 nits, I thought everything looked very sharp, very vibrant, and everything just seemed to pop. It's a really nice display here, and I'm happy they went with that. So this is the camera on the Lenovo IdeaPad Pro 5i here for 2024. A great value proposition when you consider the bang for the buck you're getting here. Good price to performance ratio. 1080p camera here. It is an IR camera. That means it allows you to log in with face recognition with Windows Hello. There is a physical shutter switch on the camera that allows you to turn it off for more security and privacy. You got to like that. There's also the AI effects. After all, this is a Meteor Lake laptop, an AI PC, and of course you can do the background blur, the auto framing and all that stuff, the eye contact. It's all there, and it's handled by the NPU that this has. What do you think about the video quality? What do you think about the audio quality? Let me know in that comment section below. All right, let's talk performance. And as I mentioned earlier, this is running the Intel Core Ultra 9 185H. That's the same processor we saw on the Yoga Pro 9i, which is more expensive, maybe about $450 or approximately there, more expensive than this one. So that's why I really like this as far as a value proposition. And you're seeing very good single, very good multi-core performance, very comparable to what we saw on the more expensive Yoga Pro 9i. Now, when you look at the Cinebench 2024, it actually did a little bit higher in terms of the single core, 111 versus 109, a little less multi-core, but very similar, very negligible. You will not notice any difference in real world usage, I guarantee you that. And the GPU performance, pretty much on par with one another. Now, when you look at the MacBook Pro, which is the top in the category, especially with the 16-core CPU and 40-core GPU version that I have, of course, that's going to do better than what you have here in terms of this one. But this comes in a lot less in terms of the money. So you're seeing excellent single and multi-core performance with an excellent price-to-performance ratio. And to me, doing things like DaVinci Resolve when it comes to video editing is very important to me. And when I ran the Puget Bench DaVinci Resolve benchmark here, it got an overall score of 1680, which was a little bit better, surprisingly, than the Yoga Pro 9i. Now, they're very similar results. Like I said, you won't notice it in real-world usage, but very similar 4K media scores, very similar GPU effects scores, and very similar fusion scores. And the overall takeaway is performance is excellent, especially when it comes to say something like 4K video editing. Now, 3D Mark, as far as the graphics here, of course, this does have the RTX 4050, and it's fed 90 watts of power versus the same graphics card on the Yoga Pro 9i, which is fed slightly higher, 100 watts of power. And as you can see, very similar time spy results, very similar Firestrike scores, and they both got passing scores on the time spy stress test. So overall, excellent results here. Now, one difference between the two is that the more expensive Yoga Pro 9i supports Advanced Optimus, whereas the IdeaPad Pro 5i does not. Now, when it comes to gaming, you certainly can game on this with this 4050. Of course, it will not be as good as a 4070, 4080, or even 4090, obviously, but certainly capable of playing some of the more popular titles. And when I ran the Time Spy stress test to see if this will thermal throttle under heavy load, it got a passing score of 98.3%, meaning it detected virtually no thermal throttling under heavy load. And that's a good thing. And when it comes to the surface temperatures, where you place your fingers on the keyboard, no issues in terms of overheating. Where you see above the keyboard below the display, reaching about 53, 54 degrees Celsius, that's where the heat dissipates, so not surprising there. That's totally normal. And then on the underside, there is a hot spot reaching about 53 degrees Celsius between the two fans there, so it's a little bit hot, although not too much of an issue overall. I just wanted to point that out. Would like that a little bit cooler. And then, of course, when you're running this under heavy load where maximum performance, it's going to reach as high as 51, 52 decibels, which is noticeable, but not the worst I've ever heard on a 16-inch creator-focused laptop. So pretty good when it comes to the fan noise here. And when you're in the everyday task doing balance mode here, doing normal things, the issue of fan noise was not much of an issue. So very good there. Now, when it comes to battery life, this has an 84 watt-hour battery, which is a little bit bigger, actually, than the Yoga Pro 9i, which has a 75 watt-hour battery. And they got very similar results in the PC Mark 10 Modern Office test, just a little bit more than 8 hours. It got 12 hours and 52 minutes on the video playback, which was actually better than the Yoga Pro 9i. Now, keep in mind, that one has a mini LED display with a higher resolution. This one has the OLED display with a lower resolution. Again, they're both running high refresh rates. This is 120 hertz. That's 165 hertz. But my overall takeaway is very respectable battery life considering the power it's packing under the hood. Now, when it comes to the keyboard, I'm actually a big fan of those smile-shaped keys. We've seen it before in other laptops in the Yoga line, the IdeaPad line, of course, and this is no exception as far as the key travel, the feedback, and the overall tactility. Very comfortable for typing out long documents, emails, and the like. Now, you will notice that numpad for those number crunchers. I'm not sure if the layout is the best, but it is there, and it does move the touchpad off-center. You get used to it pretty quickly, so it was not an issue for me. After about an hour, you forget about it, but I'm I'm not the biggest proponent of the numpad. I don't really have too much against it, but I would have preferred to have larger keys spaced out a little bit better, but that's just me. Now, having said that, the keyboard itself is very good when you do get used to that. Now, as far as the backlight on it, it has a multi-stage backlight, which allows you to get work done in a dark room or a dimly lit environment. That's been pretty good. It does have a nice glass precision touchpad that I thought worked very well when it comes to scrolling and doing all the gestures. The hinges are okay here, but I did notice a bit of screen wobble when typing, which of course, as you know, is a pet peeve of mine. Now, if there's an area where I think the IdeaPad Pro 5i can improve, that would be the audio. Now, it sports two 2-watt speakers, and it does have Dolby Atmos to help with the spatial audio. That being said, it felt a little tinny, could use a little bit more bass, a little more fuller, richer sound than you'd get on this unit. Now, of course, I do have the Yoga Pro 9i, and you can see it is a far superior audio device, especially with its 6-speaker sound system. It's just so much better. Now, I'm going to play a clip from each, and you tell me what you think in the comment section below. Now, let's give them a listen. Okay, let's bring it all home. What do I think about the Lenovo IdeaPad Pro 5i here in 2024? And I gotta say, a lot of bang for the buck. I think that's been the theme here. A 16-inch 2K OLED panel, 120 hertz refresh rate. That's pretty good. High CPU, GPU performance, very comfortable keyboard. It has a full-size SD card reader, a nice full HD webcam. It has 2 SSD slots. It has a more affordable price tag than the MacBook Pro, the XPS 16, and of course, its cousin, the Yoga Pro 9i. It also gets decent battery life and has the faster LPDDR5X RAM running at 75 mega transfers per second. Now, of course, there are some negatives here. The fans are really noticeable under heavy load, so that's one thing to keep in mind. The RAM is not upgradable, but that's pretty much par for the course here in 2024. I did detect PWM or screen flickering with this OLED panel, and there was some screen wobble when typing, which is a big pet peeve of mine, as you know. But those are not deal breakers, especially when this comes in at a very affordable price. You could pick this up over at Costco for an affordable $1,500, which is a great price to performance ratio. And considering you're getting the Core Ultra 9 185H and the RTX 4050, I think this is an absolute steal in my opinion. So if you're in the market for a really good 16-inch laptop with a discrete GPU OLED panel, this may be your ticket. It really does come in very strong here and a very good value for 2024.
So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. And don't forget to check out my website, amdtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.